I've got some great things in mind.
Yeah, I got a few ideas.
Welcome to the Sin and Rich podcast. I'm Sid.
And I bought a mic.
Sure did.
Just gonna jump right into it.
Let's just go.
Yeah.
All right. So, any updates on this week, Rich? I love that you're holding it as well.
I bought a mic. Well, I didn't buy a mic stand, so I'm just gonna hold it.
Do you think that suggestion might have held water then?
Yeah, but I don't think it would have arrived in 5 hours if I'd ordered a mic stand.
No, that was fucking phenomenal.
Mental. I ordered it at 12. No, at 1 o'clock today. I ordered this mic, and it arrived.
You're the reason I don't get my dustbin on time. I ordered a dustbin the other day. It took like 3 days to come, and I'm blaming you now.
Hey, Jeff Bezos is clearly a fan of the podcast. Like, the order came through Amazon. He was like, "Get this man a mic."
Word up, Jeff. Nice to speak to you.
Shout out to Jeff Bezos. So yeah, I've been setting it up for the last hour or so, faffing around with it. Not as easy as I would have liked, considering tech is sort of what I'm supposed to be good at. But let's just say it took Sarah reading the instructions manual for me to figure out I'm not supposed to keep this in it. So I was like, to begin with, I was talking like this. Actually, to begin with, I was talking like this, and I was like, why does it sound so terrible? And then I was talking like this. I was like, why does it still sound terrible? And then Sarah read the instructions manual for me. I'm borrowing some Sarah's headset.
You look like the fucking Android logo.
I mean, my ears aren't much smaller than this. So.
Yeah, that's what it takes to be over ear. Oh, wonderful! What a great. So there's your update for the week.
That's my main update.
That's your main
I
update.
actually have. I do have another small update. Actually,
Okay. Go for it.
A couple of weeks ago at work, I found some old Mac, Apple display monitors in the server room. I found 2 of them.
Oh.
The old 32-inch. I say old, from 2014-ish.
27-inch Thunderbolt 1 ones or Thunderbolt 2 ones or whatever.
Thunderbolt 2 ones with the ports in the back. I found a couple of them. They used to belong to the chairman of the company, and for various reasons he doesn't need them anymore. And, well, one of them's in my room now.
Oh, nice.
We've not used these for a fair few years, and I've been testing them with multiple devices. I tried them with 4 different Windows devices, all completely different, and they did not work because they don't have any input buttons or anything. They literally have to pick up off.
It specifically says from the Mac. The Mac controls it and everything. Yeah.
I'll send you a photo of what my setup looks like, and then I'll.
Well, you can send me the other one if you want.
What other one?
I thought you said there was 2.
You want the second one? I've got to keep one in the. Got to keep one in the business. Keep one there just in case.
Oh, that's mega.
Let me send you the photo of my setup.
Yeah, I had 2 of those at one point, and I've been mourning the loss of them ever since. They're brilliant.
Behold my orchard.
Yeah, it's absolute trash.
That's great.
That's cool.
I've not actually I've played RuneScape on it. That's literally all I've done.
Of course you fucking have. Of course you have.
RuneScape's never looked better than what you're about to see.
Wow. This is a good find. Good solid find.
There's £2,500 of equipment. Plays the game from 2001. What about yourself then? How's your week been?
Pretty slow. We finally had a baby. So, that's put a spanner in the works for the week. Yeah. Now, you knew anyway, but we had Saoirse Friday morning. Well, I didn't do shit. I don't know why I say we. I just stood there and, enthusiastically, chanted Rosie on like a fucking cheerleader. She was born to Led Zeppelin, which is always a great way to come into the world. Well, Rosie, last time when Patrick was born, we have a playlist that we created together, which is basically a lot of songs that remind Rosie of her dad.
Oh.
God rest his soul. So Rosie wanted that playing again, but just being born to like, just like fucking mega.
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's fucking mega. It was really good. So, I mean, obviously having a kid's great, but having a bunch of Led Zeppelin takes it up a little notch.
That's pretty powerful.
You can edit out the singing if it sounds awful, but they're for just explanation purposes to you. Doesn't have to go in. Be kind.
You got a gorgeous voice. Don't you worry.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, thanks, buddy. I know it's not true, but it's still nice. So yeah, that's a pretty big update, and obviously as a result, we've been sort of tagging each other in and out of naps and whatnot. She's got this sort of this habit already of just like really enjoying laying on me. Yeah. So I assume it's something to do with the warmth and nothing to do with favoritism at this stage.
Oh, dude, you're one of the comfiest objects in this universe. I 100% understand why she would choose to lie on you.
I'm always being hunted by Silent Night. Just is it Silent Night, the company that do those spring-loaded mattresses? Yeah. They're always hunting me down to like fucking stick me in a lab and figure out why I'm so comfy. Fuck them, they can't have it. So yeah, that's kind of the big update from the week, I guess.
It's a pretty big update. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, we all knew it was coming, just not when,
Not the 8th.
Yeah, no, she was born on the 12th, so...
That was the day after her due date, right?
Her due date was the 11th, and we thought, we actually genuinely thought she was coming on the 11th, just because of all the drama Rose was having throughout the week. And it would have been great, because all the kids would have been born on prime numbers then, and I would have been really happy with that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, but unfortunately, she let me down already. But on the plus side, she wasn't born on a prime number, but she was born on the 12th, the 2nd, 21, which is like you can palindrome that and whip it backwards.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, right. So.
Oh, she's a little palindrome.
Yeah, man. So it's still cool. Like, I'm still happy with that with the numbers. I mean, most people probably don't think about this, but to me,
no, that's the numbers pretty big. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's been that. One of the things, obviously, because we've been staying up, I've been staying up late, snuggling my daughter, but getting really into watching crime documentaries on Netflix. Like, heavily into them. Like, one was about the Yorkshire Ripper, and they didn't catch that. They didn't catch that guy for like 5 years, so there's plenty of like footage and archival stuff, and it's really fascinating. And I started another one last night called Night Stalker, and they're just basically murder documentaries, and I've been staying up late watching them to help rest my weary head.
Oh, buddy. Look, you do you, boo. I've tried to watch them before, but no, I could never get into them.
The crime element of it doesn't get me. What gets me is especially with the Ripper one, it's the archival footage, because it's like, I'm obsessed with like time travel and seeing like snippets into the past.
Yeah.
And so you're getting to see all these old cars and the way certain streets look. In the north of England back in the 70s and early 80s, sorry. And that's just that's fascinating. I love looking at stuff like that. I would, even if they just it probably wouldn't sell as much, and they probably wouldn't have as many people on board for making it. But if they were just streets through the years, and they just took you around England showing you various old footage,
I'd watch that. I'd watch that. I'd be more likely to watch that than the Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Take out the murder, and you've got me hooked.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. And I don't understand why they did that. But maybe that is. I just don't think there's as many people out there that are fascinated by the actual archival footage.
Yeah, they want the story, the plot, the intrigue, more than just. I can see that, but to be fair, I can see the appeal of the things. They're very popular. I think I might have watched the Ted Bundy one when that came out, because that was quite big a few years ago.
Yeah.
or half of it. I think I watched half of it. But
I think there's another element of that fascinates me, especially because I watched the Ted Bundy one, and it's just like it's the psychology of like, what does it take to be that sort of person? Like, it's just you could probably never get inside the mind of it or like be like sympathise with them, because obviously they're so off path in terms of like any sort of neurotypical way of thinking. And I think that's probably part of what makes it fascinating, is no one could ever imagine being like that.
you get a very up close and personal experience of what it is like to be that person. Like, it's a very unique perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And just to have that complete lack of compassion for people, I just find it, I can't imagine how anyone could ever have that, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's like some of these people seem completely normal on the surface as well. Was it Ted Bundy was the one, he was like the charismatic killer?
Well, Ted Bundy, and even, oh God, I forget the Ripper guy's name. Peter Sutcliffe? Is it Peter Sutcliffe?
I don't know.
He died last year. He died last year of coronavirus in prison.
Oh, yep, yeah. I remember hearing about that story.
He was like, everyone's like, oh, he was just like the nicest neighbour. Like, he, you know, really, really, you know, settled guy, really calm-headed.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously not. I can't even fool Rosie into being normal. So and it's fascinating. I mean, but at the same time, it's completely messed up. But
Yeah, well,
I find it fascinating.
Hey, if it's helping you with newborn baby troubles, then that's it.
Oh, God.
As long as it's not subliminally making you more likely to become the next Yorkshire Ripper.
Oh, absolutely no. Again, that just requires too much intimate time with other people.
That's true. Yeah, you need to allow yourself to get close to them. You wouldn't be able to do it.
They have to physical contact and all that sort of stuff. I'm not on board for that. No, I think when when you're up hours and hours at night with the baby, and you sort of fighting sleep, you need something that's like extremely captivating. And so much, I find myself going through Netflix so many times, just be like, there's nothing that I haven't already watched that I already know is good. And I find sometimes just dropping a documentary on. I mean, I'll watch a documentary on anything. I find sometimes just dropping a documentary on, if it's good, it'll keep my brain engaged. So that's what they've been used for.
I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine was my my cure when Ollie was about that age. Just used to stick it on, because I don't need to be able to listen to it to just get what's going on. And anytime I tune in, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick it up and start laughing. So,
well, when me and Rosie are sat together, are both up, we've been watching Parks and Rec again, which has just been fucking wonderful. I love that show. Like, just warms every part of my body, that show does. Like, Ron Swanson, I think, similar to Captain Holt, probably my spirit animals.
There's a theme.
There's an episode the other day, and I was like, if you ever want to treat me, buddy, this is probably how to do it. She does a birthday party for Ron, and it's just him sat in the room by himself with a movie and a big dinner and some whiskey, and that's his birthday party.
That sounds like your dream day. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that. Was so envious. So yeah, that's some of the things I've been up to this week. Have you got any more weekly updates?
Not really, to be honest. It's been quite a quiet week. So I got the Mac monitor, and this arrived today. But I was going to talk about how I'd ordered this. I wasn't expecting to talk about how it had arrived. Yeah,
or talking through it.
Exactly, yeah. Almost finished with the little project I was working on with all of last year's drone footage. I need to now colour grade it, colour correct it, go over all of that fun stuff to make it look not terrible.
Cool.
One thing I have realised, because I've had to pull in so much of my old stuff into it to then to redo it and re-edit it. Occasionally I'll pull in from the original project just to make sure I'm not using the exact same shots. And I've definitely come a long way in how I colour grade things. I think the way I make the videos look, there's a clear line of progression, which I'm quite happy to see. That being said, I haven't gone over the same footage again yet, so I could end up making the same mistakes as I made before. But
when I was learning about mixing, one of the things you do is you do a mix, and you do it for your monitors, and then you take that same mix and you listen in your car, and you'd listen on a pair of headphones. So you're changing the device and sort of getting these different flavours. And then you'd take what you'd learned from that, go back and listen on the monitors and make sure you were sort of truly happy with it. And I guarantee you could do all that process and be confident that you were happy with it, and listen to it 2 months down the line, and it just sound like garbage to you. And it's the same with, I find the same with photo editing, the same with video editing as well.
Yeah.
You can look at a photo, something you've done a year or two ago, and just be like, yeah, that's all. I've learned too much since then.
It's sort of like that, the way you look back on like PlayStation 2 graphics. I mean, when the PlayStation 2 came out, it was the best we could ever get. We're never going to get better than this. Did you see the way that the line cracked when I threw Hitachi down on the ground on Tekken 5? That was mental. Graphics are never going to get better. And then the PS3 comes out and you look back and you're like, oh, well, we were wrong. I think it's the same principle. There's just things that you don't... your eyes and your brain, the way it's processing, it's not looking for these what can, with hindsight, be considered flaws. It's not looking at it in certain ways through certain lenses, and I think that's good. It shows growth.
Your brain fills the gaps in for sure.
Yeah, and I think the opposite is true as well when you are editing it, particularly if I'm editing like a photo or something like that. And the more time I spend on it in one session, the harder I find to make it look right, or what I think is right, because I think I'm focusing so deeply on it that my level of what's acceptable and my threshold for what's acceptable becomes tighter and tighter. Like my expectations become greater and greater the more time. So I find myself having to just close it down, come back to it like a day later or something, and then just brush over it, because you can become very tunnel visioned, I find.
At some point, you've got to produce something as well. I always say that to guys at work. Like at some point, you could try and perfect something forever, and you really will be at it forever. But at some point, you just have to create something and move on. And the more you do that, the better things get incrementally. And that's why when you look back, you go, "Oh, I could have done that a lot better." But so the incremental lessons that you've learned over a period of time definitely change your perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the more you do it as well, the more experience you gain in. Oh, well, I've taken photos or videos in this setting before, so I sort of know where to start, and I have presets now that go into it. I've yet to get there with that, but I look forward to doing so. I feel like I'm at the start of that.
Have you got any topics you want to talk about this week?
I do, but I want you to go first.
I'm not entirely sure I've got any topics.
Oh no, don't say that. I've only got one.
You know what? I've got one topic.
Okay.
Actually, I've got a couple of topics. I forgot I wrote these down.
We're in business.
First one's not really a topic, but it's just something that I want to mention. I don't know if you've looked at like a couple of the YouTube videos we put on of this podcast, but it creates its own subtitles for it. So if you're watching it without actually clicking on the video, it starts rolling and has
it's got auto closed captions on it.
Or subtitles, yeah. So we are officially the City Witch podcast.
City Witch podcast.
Basically, but my accent and way of talking must be imperceptible to computers. They've made a whole episode on effective communication and can't we talk like robots. Apparently, I don't.
It's barely perceptible to me. I've had to tune my ears over the last few years to understand your dialect.
Yeah.
I'm City and I'm Witch.
You're never Witch. You're
never
everything
witch.
but.
Everything but Witch.
So yeah. Yeah, I thought that tickled me a little bit, and it's not got much airtime, but I thought I'd tell you. Right, okay, so I've got a couple of topics. One of them is more just ranting about YouTube adverts, so I don't think necessarily that's a big topic we can really get into. But I read a story last week, and it's going to lead to another one of those what would you do questions, right? But the story itself I found really fascinating. 3 people, I don't know if you've heard this, but 3 people survived 33 days on a desolate island off the coast of Cuba.
Okay.
They survived on rats and coconuts.
Everything you need for a balanced diet. Okay.
Yeah. Kellogg's are coming out with that next.
Rats and coconut.
Yeah. So yeah, they survived. They survived 33 days on this desolate island. 2 men and a woman. They were rescued by a coast guard who saw a giant cross in the sand that they'd created with some bits and bobs. And it's. I just thought it was one of those sort of fascinating. That's some time in a very unforgiving environment.
Yeah.
The questions I had were like, were there more than 3 to begin with? Because, you know, I could eat a couple of rats, but I'm not entirely sure I'd last 33 days now.
I think they've cannibalised their fourth friend.
Yeah. Well, maybe. You never know,
Yeah. How did they end up in this situation? Did their boat sink? Was that what happened?
No, they were just. I think what I read were they were just on really rough seas, and obviously I'm going from memory of an article I read nearly a week ago now, so this could be entirely wrong. But that to me makes it probably more interesting.
We don't fact check here.
Let's fabricate it, like yeah. They were fighting a giant shark. So yeah, they were at rough seas. I remember the article specifically saying it's not clear if they were trying to cross to America. That there wasn't that information wasn't divulged, and it wasn't clear that that's what they were trying to do. However, they were at sea during some particularly rough times, and as a result of these rough waters, they had to swim to this island in order to survive. It's implied that they weren't the only people on that boat, but these are the 3 that survived.
So yeah, they probably did eat their friend as like a nice Friday night dinner.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, we spoke about Castaway jokingly a couple of weeks ago. There's moments in there where he contemplates, do I eat this body?
Are you going to ask me then if I would eat a dead body? Eat a body?
The question was going to be like, what would you if you were trapped on an island with limited resources, like, what to what extent? I mean, I suppose anyone would go to any level to survive, but like, what's the worst thing you can imagine yourself doing to survive?
Dying. That'd be pretty bad. That'd be a really bad way of surviving.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it has to be effectual. You have to survive. Like, you can't just give up.
I don't know. What's the worst thing I think I would be capable of doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I'd be capable of actually harming anyone. Not mentally, not that I wouldn't want to. I mean, I'm not very strong. They would overpower me.
So you're not ruling it out emotionally. You're just like not effectual.
It just wouldn't be worth considering. I'd have to find more friendly options of survival, I think.
Okay, so you'd buddy up.
Yeah, and then get eaten myself.
Oh, buddy, I don't want to talk you down, but I don't think there's many people queuing up to eat you, bud.
Yeah, that's very true. I am not very helpful on an island.
Are you any good at climbing trees?
I'm very good at climbing trees. Don't ask Sarah. She's seen me fall out of enough.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. So you're not entirely sure what's the stretch you'd go to because you're not sure whether or not you'd be effective in any way.
I think in terms of like what's the worst thing I would be doing. It would just have to be, I don't know, recycling my own waste, right? Like that's the worst thing. I think I'd be like stuff I'd have to do to myself to survive, sort of like drinking my own urine, full Bear Grylls in it.
I don't even think I've got a strong enough stomach to do that. Like,
but when the option's death,
dude, I've got the worst gag reflex. I don't think I could get through it. I don't think I can mentally get through.
What's the worst thing you would do to survive on a desert island?
Well, I mean,
as
a digital designer, I think my skill set will be what I'm truly.
You'd have the SOS thing. Yeah. Everybody is starved to death while you had them going back to the beach to redesign it. It's like no. Revise it. Look, that's not good enough. That's not eye-catching
I know you're
enough.
really tempted to eat this wild boar that we've found, but if we use its blood as contrast against the sand, it's a lot more visible. What would see? That's the thing is that I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I'm not a handy dude. Like, there's nothing that I'm not particularly handy in any way. I mean, I can I can just about mount a picture frame, and I've mounted a few TVs, but I don't think there's much call for that on a desert island. So in terms of like being like physically capable and utilitarian, I'm just not.
We're useless in exactly the same way. That's brilliant.
Oh, I'll be so like not in exactly the same way, because I would feed 5,000 people. Like,
That's true. I might have to eat you, buddy.
You know, and that would be an honour.
Yeah, I'd have to do it sneaky like that. I couldn't overpower it.
Stop nibbling my leg.
I meant like bonk you on the back of the head, not like follow you around with a knife and fork, and when you're not looking, take a bite. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's why I'm sleeping. You're just there, just leave my leg alone.
Sid managed to lose so much weight on the island. Like, it must have been tough not eating. I was like, no, I ate plenty. Rich just wouldn't leave me alone.
Every calorie I put in, he took back out. So yeah, that's my desert island topic.
Happy to answer that one. I mean, there's always the question of what would you bring to a desert island? Like, what one object would you
That's always a
take?
good question. Yeah, well, I mean, means of escape from the desert island, does that count?
Yeah, I'd bring a yacht.
Yeah. So you bring a jet ski. Jet ski. Yeah, the desert island one always got me. Like, what would you do on a desert island?
Yeah, it's like, do you pick something that would be more useful, or just something that would keep you a bit more sane? You know, do I bring my MacBook for a really crisp 20 hours, or do I bring like some tools to help survive?
Yeah, I suppose like if you were to answer it in the sense that like you're not leaving the island, like means of escape is not portable. You can't take that with you. A tent and some sharp implements and a flint maybe to light fire.
Like a knife set.
I was thinking like an axe, like a camping axe.
Oh. Yeah.
Because you've got your best of both worlds there, aren't you? You can always, Minecraft it. Because I can't punch trees. I've tried. It's not working for me, but, I mean, I like the idea of that. Like, an entire generation thinks of the desert island question and immediately switches their brain to Minecraft. And
they just start punching the tree and they're expecting it to, to combust.
You don't need anything. Steve got dropped on an island and did nothing. He's fine.
I just take my inventory screen, then I can craft.
Yeah. And my trusty crafting manual.
All right, I do have a topic.
You got a topic?
Week. I do. It's in the same vein of seriousness, but without the cool story attached to it. The story is somehow a conversation I was having with Sarah led to this, and that was I would visit Pornhub a lot more regularly if it operated like YouTube. So, like, clickbait titles and sponsorships mid-video. Like,
I was going to stop sucking this dick for 2 seconds to talk about Skillshare. Have you ever wanted to edit a video? Skillshare might be right up your alley.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a concept of what if Pornhub was more like YouTube?
Yeah, like, I know I reveal everything in my videos, but that doesn't mean I don't care about privacy. And there's nothing that gives me more privacy than NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video.
Surfing the web is much like having things put in and out of a pipe. As you know, I'm professional at that. My inputs and outputs are always under control. You should get yours under control. I mean, there's one problem with this idea. So I do have a little thing wrote down that was, I'm starting to grow to, I don't know how much YouTube you've been watching, but there's a Google advert that's on of a guy whistling into his phone.
Yes,
and brings up a song. That dude with the sunglasses on, I'm starting to like contemplating like writing death threats to. Like the amount of times I see him come up just before a video, I hate the dude. I've never met him in my life. I've seen him for 3 seconds.
Whistling. That is like...
Oh man, yeah. hey, what is that song?
Yeah.
Fuck off! Like, go die. Go. Oh, man. Well, that's it, yeah, like, YouTube advert. Would this ruin porn for you, though? Because, like, you're going in there to have a good old time, and you've got to look at that dude for, like, 3 or 4 seconds before you go.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm not talking about pre-roll ads. I mean, there's pre-roll ads on Pornhub anyway.
Yeah, but they're Pornhub-specific pre-roll ads.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. They can stay. That's...
Sony's not advertising on there, are they? You know?
I mean, sponsorships, like, straight up. Because, yeah, Pornhub's making bank anyway from all that.
Doesn't
like,
need...
But, I mean, for the creators themselves to start having sponsorships.
Are we saying that, like, it's like YouTube, but in an entirely sexualized way? So it's, like, entirely
Yeah, and, like,
Pornhub.
they start the videos like, I don't know, like... What's up, Wank Squad? Sasha Grey here. In today's video, I'll be getting down and dirty. Like, yeah.
Fucking Wank Squad.
What a Wank Squad.
I'd like to see Rhett and Link jump over to that. to that. Which burger sauce tastes best on a penis? Find out. Let's talk about that.
Welcome to the City and Witch podcast.
Oh, you say we're going to end up on Pornhub? I don't think there's a market for that.
Hey, that just means there's an opportunity.
Oh, maybe for you, buddy. I don't want to see the type of guys that get off on looking at me.
We don't have to look at them.
Okay, so we're doing it in an overly sexualized way. What would be the top 3 Pornhub sponsors? Like, you know how, like, obviously, like, on YouTube, you can name it, like, NordVPN's obvious. What was the other one I said? It's, like, constantly on there. Skillshare. Audible.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends. Oh my god, Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah, yeah. What would be the equivalent? Top maybe 3 or 5, 3 to 5, sexualized, over the top, constant advertisers and sponsors through porn, through.
As in, like sex toy products or thing, or...
Well, yeah, you think something like fleshlights or something would be a given,
like the
wouldn't you?
dragon dildo.
Yeah, but I suppose in the same sense, like, does it really need to be advertised? Like look at stuff like Raid. Like, no one needs to play Raid Shadow Legends. That's why you see it all the time. And like, I'm not saying Skillshare is bad, you know. Like, if anyone ever wants Raid Shadow Legends can fuck themselves, I'm never going to accept sponsorship from them. But obviously, if Skillshare
Easy to say before the 10k offer comes through our email. The only reason you won't accept it is because I've already said yes. I've taken the money and I'm playing.
So we're talking, you understand? Really, it's funny you should mention that, sir, because Raid Shadow Legends, Rich, you fucking did it.
You'll never guess who reached out to me.
Don't worry, buddy, I PayPal'd you the half. I guess I'm doing this as well.
My dad unironically loves Raid Shadow Legends. That's not even a joke, though. He plays it every single day. His phone is constantly AFKing raids. So there is definitely an audience for that game.
Oh my god. You were going to say that shit and you'd have been right.
Yeah, if I want the sponsorship. The problem is, my dad is definitely...
Hopefully they don't Kevin Hart us and come back to this podcast like 20 years from now.
He said, what about Raid Shadow Legend? The thing is, my dad's never seen an advert for Raid Shadow Legend. He doesn't watch YouTube, and that's the only place it seems to hang out. He's just organically looked on the App Store and gone, well, this looks grand.
So many people can't be wrong.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're forgetting the question at hand. So, like, what would be the natural...
Yeah.
We just got sidetracked by the idea of your dad unironically loving Raid Shadow Legends.
Like, Pornhub stops paying all of its users. They now have to resort to clickbait titles and thumbnails and sponsorships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be a natural fit in that demographic? Because I could see like, because we like the demographic's going to be unbelievably biased towards men, right? You know.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that there's a strong. I would say even a conservative estimate would be 70-30 split.
Yeah, with the average age group maybe like between 18 and 28.
Yeah.
like somewhere around
So
there.
we're talking that sort of like that
Young adults.
early 20s, and, sort of 20s being your main capture. So like life insurance would be a real good one.
What, for a young audience?
Yeah, because no one thinks about life insurance. And it's funny you should mention that, Rich, because this week's sponsor... yeah. I think, you see, like, the thing is like, if you don't have life in, like, stuff like not having a will in place, like, you know, if you don't have a will in place and you've got children, and both of you die, like, you don't have a final say on what happens to that child, so it gets put into a system rather than being like, well, I wanted it to go to my parents.
Yeah.
Like, so it's, stuff like that, like, not a lot of young people think about, so that could be a marketer's dream, to have a, captive audience, and able to. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's one that could work in that demographic.
I like the idea of that. Sasha Grey takes the penis out of mouth just to talk to me about how I should cover myself in case of anything happening in the future.
This sucks, but do you know what really sucks? Dying and not leaving a proper will in place.
When I'm wrapping up, I like to use Kleenex Supreme.
Oh man, I'm sort of a little bit sad now that Pornhub isn't a little bit more like YouTube, because I think there's more entertainment value in it now.
Right? Like I would go there leisurely. I made a little subscriptions box. I'd just go and check my dailies. But no other business. Just to check in.
I just want British Gas.
British Gas?
The plumber turns up to the fucking residence. Have you got boiler care?
The sponsorships are just like what the plot is pretending to be. It's just...
Yeah. Have you got boiler care? Because this could have saved you a lot of money on today's call out. You're going to have to pay for some other way.
Now, this guy might have been a phony plumber, but you know who aren't Valent? The service they give is legitimate. They won't fuck you around. I'd like to say thank you to Silent Night for providing the bedding for today's video. For the most comfort in your bedtime, we go to Silent Night. Video proceeds as normal, occasional close-ups of the label.
That's really tickled me. I love it.
That's the only topic I brought this week.
It was worth it. It's worth its weight in gold. That one was. I kind of casually sidestepped the fact that you were talking about this with Sarah. Like what?
Oh yeah.
Like it was like you were talking about porn. Cool. Why?
Oh, I don't even remember. Let's have a look. Let's go back through the WhatsApp. I'll explain it to you. It won't go out. I'll explain.
Okay, that's fine.
The short of it was I surprised her last week, but obviously by turning up, which meant that she had no idea I was coming. We didn't communicate that I was going to be here, so you can assume which week of the month that ended up being. I'm
not entirely sure how that could have been avoided by communication there, buddy. Like, I think it's a pretty natural process.
Well, you can skip it, can't you, by just having to pill for a little bit longer. You can throw off the...
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Did you not?
Buddy, what about my 3 kids makes you think I know anything about contraception?
Very true. Buddy. Oh, now I want to keep it in.
That's always my problem.
Oh, yeah, that was it. And then I found this on Reddit.
I've been laughing so much I don't know where my phone's gone.
So, yeah, what happened is I was chatting to Sarah about on WhatsApp, and then this popped up on Reddit. I was like, this is appropriate. And then she just led us to this whole conversation where I started like sending her clickbait titles. So like, the plumber did what? Prank gone sexual. I ordered a pizza with extra sausage. You'll never guess what happened next.
My girlfriend broke up with her boyfriend, came over for comfort. Things got out of hand.
I'm glad I'm editing that this week because I could just play this bit to Sarah and be like,
What,
oh
what do
no.
you think? Can this girl get past?
If
Just
it's,
wait, it says something right here.
yeah.
You're gonna want to keep it after you've heard this bit.
So if it's abruptly cut to this bit, it was a no.
I look forward to hearing. Oh no, that entire thing's really got me though. That was funny, man. That was really good.
Do you have any more topics then?
I don't have anything to follow that. If that's what you're asking, no. I'm gonna have to put some real homework in this week. Jesus, that tickled me.
Should we address the
fucking scarlet-sized elephant in the room?
Yeah, the comic book.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the comic book elephant in the room. God damn it! Get out of my head. Yeah. Should we do it?
Oh, we're gonna have to. First, I want to start with one thing. Right. So first
right.
of all, spoilers from here for WandaVision. Let's say that out loud. If you
This is the last segment of the podcast this week.
Yeah, if you don't turn it off from here and go, and you haven't watched WandaVision, that's entirely on you, not on us. If you have, stick around. Let's have a little bit of a chat. Let's cover off a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to cover off is two things you spoke about last week that sort of completely got chucked out the window this week. And I genuinely think they're producing the show just to fuck with us at this point.
Okay.
So the first thing is you said, like, you didn't think that she was entirely in control, like it's somebody else, because they didn't specifically mention Wanda. Yeah. And the other thing you said is that you think that Agnes is like playing a part in it.
Yeah,
because
I've got both of these things written down. Yeah,
she absolutely says Wanda, for starters, to confirm it. She's Wanda's the one in the head, and obviously she's fucked, bro. When
she ain't got a clue. No.
And when she wiped his brain, when he did the bit, I was like, man, that was quite. It's almost as if. I mean, are they going to address at some point there's a potential for brain damage in this? Like, the fact that she just keeps shouting at him. I think she shouts, "Dead," is it?
Oh, yeah, she just like has a breakdown, doesn't she?
Yeah, and it's like, well, how much, can a mind take?
Yeah, and everybody seems to be affected in different ways. Like, Norm was in pain and panicking. She seemed like she might have been in it for a little bit longer. She seemed a bit more mushy. But yeah, no, absolutely tossed that aside, didn't it? But by the same token, Quicksilver's a little bit sketchy this week, I thought he seemed...
Rosie said this thing to me where she's like, is he a spy? And it's like, that got my brain ticking over, like, because he's...
No, I don't know if he's a spy. I'm not sure. So I said last week, I think she subconsciously created him, because the other alternative to her not being in control is that she has become so powerful, it's sort of escaped her control in a way. Like, it's manifesting subconsciously in the way it held on that shot of her last week and him turning up. Maybe it has just gotten so powerful, she's creating autonomous beings. Like, these people are coming into existence and she can't even control them now. They're like, her kids now have superpowers, right? Like, one of them was dressed up like Doctor Strange, it looked like. The other was dressed up like a little Quicksilver.
One of the things I found really odd is that it sort of confirms that this, although this looks like Evan Peters and this is a different universe of Quicksilver, he has the memories of MCU Quicksilver.
Yeah.
However, with one caveat. So things like he says, like, last thing I remember is being shot in the street. But however, he seems to be, and I don't know if it's for the purposes of the TV show. So I don't know if it's the dramatizing it or like adding comedy to it. He's remembering different events from their childhood than she knows. So there's that scenes like, oh, last Halloween, you remember Halloween as a kid and like chucks the fish in the basket. And she said specifically, I don't quite remember it like that.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
So I don't know if that's for the purpose of the TV show or if there's something else afoot. Is he playing a part?
That's the thing. He seems aware. He seems like he's in control of what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem like he's following her actions or her script. Kind of like a kid's. Like, a kid's are just autonomous. I don't know. It came across as quite sinister, some of the things he was saying. That was... But then obviously it flashed to him like being all dead, and I was like, well, what is going on? Like, we got a bit more information on how Vision's held together, and that is that he's literally being held together. She's just duct taped him. Like,
yeah.
So I am completely lost on where to what to think about Evan Peters, but I like that it's operating in the world operates in the same way that the Nigerian hackers operated on the scammers operated on Rick and Morty, where if it's not in the immediate bubble, they're just glitching out around the edge. They're just like minimum capacity.
Yeah. My man.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. You saw a little bit like as you got further out of town, the capacity diminished, and there's a woman that was crying and she's trying to put the thing up, and as you get further and further out, people just stone stopped.
Like they're just in the car, like not going anywhere. It was really strange.
Well, she was clearly trying to escape.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, she was right at that crossroads, which is the barrier of town. She's I got lost.
Yeah.
Is that in the town that you grew up in?
Of course, that's different now because Wanda's sort of extended it and went full cycle at the end. They were the parts of the episode I really liked. I really liked everything that was happening inside the dome. But there's a but here, and this is the first episode where I and I don't know about you, I had some actual gripes with this episode. There were just basically everything happening outside of the dome. I thought felt a bit forced. Essentially, I've got written down so things were happening that I wasn't quite sure of. So Darcy randomly hacking into all their security. I might be wrong here, but that seemed like generic, we've got a smart person in one field with a laptop so they can also hack now. Like, you know what I mean? It seemed like a really generic... I don't know if we've seen a hacking in the Thor films, but it felt really off.
I was going to mention that, and I didn't get a gripe about it, but it was its own trope.
I think it stands out in this because this is a show that's all about tropes. It's going through the eras of tropes, and it's highlighting tropes. But the sword side of it, that's supposed to be the serious part. But
on that note, the other trope that bothered me was that the big boss man who's going to fight the world. Like, we don't need an additional villain. Like, we don't need that.
I'm not sure how I feel about the sword subplot. Hoping it leads to more than dumb leader man bad, because that's what he's bad for the sake of being bad. I really hope he has a deeper, more sophisticated agenda, but it just seems like he's an idiot.
It kind of reminded me of like the Civil War plot. So it's like heroes are dangerous, we're scared type thing, right? Like you need a registration and all that. And obviously in the Civil War, the comic Civil War, the whole point of it is that all superheroes need to identify and give up their give up their identities, so that they can be held accountable for their actions. And it's kind of like this guy's in this. It almost felt like he was like heavily in that field, like these people are dangerous kind of thing. But that's kind of like what it feels like it wants to be. But what it boils down to, and I totally agree with your fucking thing, like dumb bad guy is bad. It's lazy writing. That's kind of. And why does she get handcuffed to the car? Like just so she can be back in the bubble when it expands.
Yeah, that's the thing. It really. They clearly want these people to be in certain positions by the end of the series, and it seems like they haven't really joined the dots in how they're going to do that. And I mean, it's fine. This seems more like the B plot of the series. This is it's not a major thing, but there were just a lot of contrivances and a lot of things that didn't make a lot of sense in a bad way that I saw in this episode. I was just like, I hadn't seen that yet. I'd seen the characters was very consistent outside in Sword up to them.
It was like a lot of plot facilitating, wasn't it? It's like these people need to be like.
It's like we need Darcy to be in here, but she has no business being in here, and we need Rambo to go off on her own with Jimmy Woo, and so for that we need this guy to do something that just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't. It seems completely against what we've been looking. We still don't get to see who Rambo's going to either, so. That better be Reed Richards or somebody of that caliber, because they're really building that up.
That would be cool. I don't know if you've read anywhere or seen, because obviously we're both trying to stay away from it, but something popped up on my Facebook the other day, and it was just a little fucking graphic, and it said that trying to get you to click through, and it said, the next 3 episodes of WandaVision are going to be an hour in length.
Oh, okay. That'd be cool. I didn't know there were 3. I thought there were only 2 episodes, so that's cool.
So, there's supposed to be another... Well, again, I don't know... I don't think this one was any longer.
No, I think they have gotten longer. See, I wouldn't be surprised. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they're doing this thing where when they're in sitcom land, because the first episode seemed really short and they were entirely in sitcom land. If they're keeping a certain time in the sitcom to adhere to like Wanda's strict thing about, because sitcoms like 20 minutes or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the more time we spend with Sword, because episode 4, where it was entirely Sword, I think was the longest episode, or it felt like the longest episode, but in like a good way. Like I think it's longer. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's 20 minutes in sitcom land, and then whatever time we have for Sword.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have any TV schedules to keep to, so they can do what they want, and I'm all for an hour-long episode.
I'll just straight up say what it evoked for me when I was watching the intro part of this week, and the kids announcing is very Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes, yeah, it was. I think we skipped the 80s and 90s, right? We went straight to like the late 90s noughties.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Nickelodeon / Malcolm in the Middle type feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Drake and Josh type thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty. I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed that they became the centre, because obviously that's what happened with like, you know, that sort of TV at that point. You know, Malcolm in the Middle was not created for kids; it was created for adults, but it is shifted to the children's perspective.
Oh, I thought it was a really cool opening. Yeah, the kids like talking into the camera, and the bloody Evan Peters' crazy encore. I genuinely like that. I didn't want it to go. I didn't want it to go all spooky.
Shotgunning the sodas and stuff like that. Wasn't he? Yeah,
that was really cool. But also, maybe I think that's especially cool because it's now in an era of sitcom television that I actually have watched, that I have a personal connection to, so it's nice to like recreated.
It was at least 96, right? Because they had a PlayStation 1. So
did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought I was going off the camcorder they were using had to be 90s, so...
Yeah. No, they had a PlayStation 1, which is... When they sat on the sofa playing video games, you can very clearly see the grey PlayStation 1 controller.
Cool.
It's the iCarly era next, right? Like it's
we've got to be like noughties onto 2010.
Will they start having their own like streaming YouTube radio? You know,
their own podcast.
Vision and Wonder Do Life.
Viz and Witch. Yeah. That's what the closed caption thinks our podcast is.
I'm looking forward to your thumbnail production for this week, especially with the main topic being Pornhub adverts.
Do I get to make the... Oh, I'm so excited. I'm more excited to make the thumbnail.
You got to do the whole lot, buddy.
Oh, I'm actually capable in something like Photoshop, certainly more than Prem at the moment. So yeah, I'll take that.
Right. Well, I think that's an episode, don't you?
I reckon so. Yeah, it's a good amount of time. You can now walk me through what I'm supposed to do, but yeah, I've been.
All right, buddy. Love you long time.
Love you long time too, dude. See you next week.
See you next week. Oh my God.